Good morning everyone, Amanda here. Today I'm going to show you how beautiful, very simple heat embossing can be. It's a great thing to learn to do. Practice makes perfect, and if you get a good quality embossing powder you will get really good results. I do use the Stampin' Up one, obviously I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator so I get it at a discount, but it is honestly very good and a little bit goes a very long way. I've had this pot a very long time. Alright, so I'm using some crumb cake here and I'm using Good Morning Magnolia. Beautiful set. Okay, now the dust budder, I call it a dust budder, it's called an emboss budder. And what this does is if you use that all over where you're going to emboss, it stops static and it stops the embossing powder sticking to the card where you haven't stamped, if you know what I mean, to get where you get stray. I'm using Versamark. I think it's the best embossing ink. It's brilliant, and I'm using the large focal Good Morning Magnolia stamp. It's lovely. We're not going to use all of it. We're going to partial stamp in two places. All right, plenty on. Dab, tap, tap. Okay. These are refillable as well, so that's really good. So then I'm going to decide where I want kind of a band in the middle that's free where I'm going to put my sentiment. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to partial stamp to the top right, like so. So I'm not even using all of it, just using part of it. Give it a good press. Gently hold it in that bottom corner and release. Okay, now that leaves an impression already. I don't know if it's picking it up on the camera, and you can use just Versamark as a background stamp. Leave that to dry and that will show through like a watermark. If I just do that you'll be able to see it better. So you could do just that without adding anything else on. Alright, but I'm going to just gently move my card, trying not to put my fingers all over it because the grease from my fingers would then make the embossing powder stick where I don't want it. And if you want a nice crisp finish, you only want it to stick where you want it to stick. So tap again all over, and then we're going to go for the bottom left, leaving myself a bit of a band in the middle, and I'm going to go that way, try and get a bit more of the flower on. Alright, about there. Give that a press. And like I said, I could leave that like that, and once that ink's dry, you've got that as a background then. Okay. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some white embossing powder. I've got my little piece of paper here that I sprinkle it onto so that then I can feed it back into the pot when I've done. So I sprinkle it on really generously. Okay. And then we'll just gently tap it off. Don't be tempted to blow. To blow it off. Otherwise you'll blow all your powder off. Okay, it is stuck on there, but it's not set properly until you heat it. So if you tap it too much or you're tempted to blow it, you'll blow it all off. Alright, so you don't do that. Just gently tap. Alright, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to add a bit more there just to make sure I've covered it all. Yeah, you can empty the whole pot on it. It's fine as long as you remember to put something underneath. You can quite easily put it back into your pot when you've done and reuse it. Just try not to get foreign bodies in it, as it were. I have mixed mine with ever such a small amount of glitter because I like the sparkle that it gives. Just a really tiny amount. Okay, and then just very gently tap that back in. Don't waste any, and there you go. You've got nearly a full jar left again. Alright, then I'm going to bring in my embossing tool. There's different ones on the market. I got this one. You can just about see it. I'll just bring my card on camera. Locally, it's pink. I don't have the Stampin' Up one. Some are quieter than others, but they all more or less do the same job. So just get what is within your budget because they'll all do the same job. And then what you want to do is just set it off, let it warm up a little bit, and then heat from the side. Now I might go off camera a little bit because my wire doesn't stretch to where my camera is, okay? So just bear with me. I am still here. Alright, so from the side. I'm sorry if I'm on shot, my wire just doesn't reach. Okay, and you can tell when it's done because the colour will change and it will be a brighter white. And you can literally see it changing before your eyes, almost like magic. I love it. Make sure I've got it all, and if you hold it from the side rather than straight on like that, then your card shouldn't buckle. Okay, you should alleviate that problem. Bear with me, it's nearly done. Nearly there. I've got to make sure it's all cooked. Okay, and if your card does buckle, put the heat tool underneath, like that, okay, and it will straighten it back out. Alright, so we've done that bit, and you end up with a very beautiful white embossed on your coloured card. You can do it on any colour. It looks really lovely on this crumb cake or you know, a craft style cardstock. Alright, I've already done my card layer. I'm going to leave all the measurements over on my blog at scrimpingmommy.co.uk. I've also layered inside with crumb cake and another layer of white to make my card extra sturdy. Okay, like I say, all the measurements will be over there. I'll leave a link in the description box below like I always do. So now all I need to do is attach this to my card base with some glue. Alright, and then we're just going to make it that little bit more pretty with a sentiment and a very small coloured element, which I'm going to show you in a moment. Okay, and let's get this onto our card. Apologies if I just go off shot while I get this straight. Okay, because I want it to be nice. Very tiny white border there to go with that card. Just turn it over and give it an even press all over. Okay, and there we've got our embossed background. So we're going to make that stand out even more by adding just a tiny pop of colour. So what I've got here is, I've got some that I've already done, already cut out. So I'm just going to show you the bare basics, okay? So using Memento, I'm getting the small bud from the Good Morning Magnolia. Okay, and stamp that on there. Okay, just give it a moment to dry. And then I'm going to show you how to colour it really quickly. I've just got one shade of light green, it happens to be light old olive, and I've got Rococo Rose light and dark. And then I've got my blend pen. So with the, I think is it old olive? Yeah, light old olive. I would rather have Pear Pizzazz, but there isn't one in the stamping blend. I'm just going to colour the leaves and the stem very quickly. Okay, like so. And then I'm going to get light Rococo Rose. Okay, and using the brush tip, I'm going to very gently just colour the whole entire flower. Okay, just colour it all. No shading, just flat colour, all of it, all the way around. Okay, and the Memento ink should stop that running. Alright, now you could leave it at that, but just to add a bit of interest, we're going to go in with the dark one, with the brush tip, and where there's already black ink, where it's a little bit darker, that's indicating that that's where the shade or the shadow would fall. So where that black ink is, we're just going to go in and just do tiny strokes of the darker colour, and also we're going to do it just near the base and around the lines there. Okay, and that would be in the shade, so we'll colour all of that dark. Alright, and maybe a little bit more up there for a bit of definition. Alright, that bit would be dark because it would be shaded. Alright, and then what you do is you get your blend pen, and using the brush tip again, you just go all over and just literally smoosh it in. Just smoosh it in all over, round and round circular. and that will kind of blend them colours together. Alright, so that there's not a harsh join between them. Just keep smooshing it. Then you can go in with the bullet tip, and where you think the light will fall, just colour a little bit extra. So just here, I'm just going to add, just use the, and what's that doing is that's lifting some of that colour out. It's almost like bleaching it out. So then you will have very, very small sections that are lighter, that look like the light's fallen on them. Okay, and that's how you get your shaping. Alright, like so. Really easy. No, you don't need anything fancy. Right, so I'm just going to just press my card. Nice and flat. It's gone a little bit warped, but I will, when I've done, I'll just stick it underneath a book. It does happen that sometimes with heat embossing. Once my glue's dry, I'll just lay it flat and it'll flatten out. So now I'm going to heat emboss on some vellum, and this is about 1 inch, and it's by the width of the coloured card, so it's 1 inch by 4 inch. Okay, and we're going to stamp a sentiment on there, which I haven't picked yet. Which one shall we have? I quite like a simple thanks, because then I know I can send that card to anybody. Unless I'm making something for a specific occasion, I always use hello or thanks when I'm creating. And then, like I say, I can send it to anybody. Alright, so I'll use thanks. I'm just going to bring in my chamois, because I'm not 100% convinced that that stamp was cleaned the last time I used it. So let me just double check. I spent ages looking for my chamois. I couldn't find it anywhere, and then I found it yesterday in a box of DSP, like you do. In a box of retired Christmas DSP, so I must have been using it at Christmas. Right, so I'm just going to stand up for this, because I want to try and get my sentiment on pretty straight. Okay, there we go. And what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to get a piece of scrap, and then I'm going to use my Versamark. I'm just going to practice to see if I've got my stamp straight on my block. So let me just have a look if that's straight. I just lift that bit up ever so slightly. It's not too bad, isn't that? Alright, so again we're coming in with the dust budder that I call an embossing budder. And we're just going to swipe it over like so, stop any static sticking, and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Okay, sorry if my messy hair gets in the shot. Since I moved my camera to a different desk, it makes it a little bit awkward, if I'm honest. I think I need to have a rethink. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in my embossing powder once again. Alright, and we're going to emboss that. Try if I can pick it up. There we go. And embossed vellum is very, very pretty. Very pretty indeed. Okay, let me just move that out of the way. And bring in my heat gun again. 2 minutes. There we go, and we're just going to gently heat set that. There we go, that's lovely and set. And then what I'm going to do, so, vellum is notoriously difficult to adhere unless you've got a tape runner. I've only got glue, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. Alright, and I'm going to add a tiny bit of glue just to one end. Okay. And then we're going to just attach that across there. Alright. And we'll leave that flap free. And then here are some coloured smaller flowers that I did earlier, and I'd cut them out ready so you didn't have to watch me do it. And then I think I'm going to actually put that on dimensionals. I think, and then this will hide that daub of glue. You won't be able to see it in a minute. Okay, so I put one on there and take the backing off, and we will strategically place that over where we've glued, and then you could have another one perhaps down there or up there if you wanted. I think I'm going to stay with just the one, to be honest. I think it sometimes less is more. And so that is a beautifully embossed card ready to go. I hope you like that. I hope you'll give it a try. Heat embossing really is a beautiful thing to play with. I'm going to come up with some more ideas for it as well and share it with you on another video. I'll leave all the details over on my blog. Take care, have fun creating, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.